You're listening to This Week in Real Estate with your host, Rob Golfi. Brought to you by the Golfi Team at RE/MAX Escarpment, featuring Conrad Zerini, broker-owner of RE/MAX Escarpment Realty Inc., and Brian Hogben, owner of Mission 35 Mortgages. Let's hear what's going on in real estate this week.
Here we go.
What's happening? What's going on?
Hey.
All good.
Welcome, everybody, to the podcast, What's Happening This Week in Real Estate. We got Conrad Zerini, broker, owner, RE/MAX Escarpment, RE/MAX Niagara, Mission 35 Mortgages, Brian Hogben, and myself here, Rob Golfi. So, a couple of things I want to talk about is, they're saying there's going to be a recession, but they're also saying housing prices aren't going to really be affected. It may be 1% the most, but I think we're in the calm before the storm next year. Now, I'm not saying housing prices are going to start, going up by 10% in February or whatever when the market really starts heating up. I truly feel that we're going to have that flurry that's going to happen. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a month, maybe 6 weeks, could be longer. How October, there was a little bit of a flurry of activity that happened, and then it settled back down again. I think we're going to have that. I think it could be more of a balanced market. I do think that this might be I don't see anything of a recession out there. I don't know if there will be one. I mean, there has been a recession going on regardless because companies are losing money because there has been a shortage of products and goods.
That's right. Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like in regards. Yeah. So if they finally fill their shelves up to sell stuff, it'll be better than what it's been in the last year. So
and look, all the losses I think have been gone. Like they've taken them, Q2, Q3 in terms of real estate. When you got a healthy job market, real estate always seems to do okay. Look, inventories are down 11% from last month, okay? New listings are down 20% from last month. And September, the sales to new listing ratio, and that's a big indicator. How many sales compared to the new listings? September it was 43, October it was 49, November it's 55. Now we're moving out of balanced and into probably seller territory. When you get to 60, it's seller territory. Months of supply is down to like 3.13 months of supply, down from 3.31. And townhouses have dipped below 2% in months of supply. So that's the thing. And the big number is 97% of asking price. That's what's happening out there. It's not 95, it's not 92. The stuff that's selling is staying pretty close to the number as long as the value is there for the consumer, right? The list price, the proper list price.
So go ahead. Sorry, Brian.
I was just going to say, and also on that recession front, I was looking at numbers from CMHC today on the delinquencies. So delinquency is only at 33. This is as per CMHC transacted mortgages, which is still a pretty big sample size. It's 33 out of 10,000. That's an extremely low number right now. And you know what? The stress test, OSFI just announced that they're keeping it the same. And to their benefit, when that came out in 2016, that's protected a lot of people. A lot of people qualified at 5.25% when rates are 2%, and people may not like it right now, but the delinquency rate shows that people are still paying their mortgage payments. That is less than half. That is like 0.15%, 0.2% of people that are in that demographic right now.
And I guarantee it that 0.2%. Are people that were going to go delinquent regardless of interest rates.
Yeah.
There's got to be a percentage of them, half of them at least. There's no way, banks will help you re-amortize your house now. Am I correct about that? To keep things going?
Right.
The display, So
those guys were losing their houses regardless.
I agree. There's always a level of delinquency, right? Regardless of whether you're any market, there's always going to be a level of delinquency. And right now we're below what a normal level of delinquency is. Will we get up to normal in the next 3 to 6 months? Probably. If we're at 0.15, it might go up to 0.25. But that's not going to be, like you say, outside of any normal market, barring any other major changes.
And look, I'm the eternal optimist. The fact that they didn't do anything with the stress test, and I tell you, you know why they didn't? Because they know rates are going to come down, probably Q2, Q3, and they said, why monkey with this now? You know, the bond market. There's a lot of indicators. They say, why flirt with this now? The market will take care of it. Interest rates will take care of the stress test. That's why I think they said, don't even bother. Right? Because then it sets a whole other thing in motion. I think the market's going to do this. Interest rates will take care of the stress test going into the summer for sure.
Oh, big time. You know what? I was on the radio talking about right now, if you're a buyer, and I know everybody's always saying this is the right time to buy, this is the right time to buy. This right now to buy and get a half decent deal on a house is great because you feel for a buyer, if he's going to wait till January, February, March, I think he's going to pay. It's going to be harder to negotiate. Right now,
I think you're right, Rob, because especially if the Bank of Canada doesn't move rates January 25th, that's going to be another little vote of confidence for people to be like, ooh, we're at the peak, right? So people don't know what's going to happen January 25th. So I agree with what you're saying.
Well, the Bank of Canada kind of warned us before the next time they would announce the rate hike. They say, well, we're probably going to do another rate, but they're basically not saying there could be another rate hike. They're like kind of,
I know.
You know, so
they're deciding.
So they're kind of like telling everybody, hey, listen, you can cool off and don't worry about it. Where, you know, because how many announcements a year? 8? Is it 8 announcements a year?
I think it's 10.
Oh, is it 10? Okay. So they do 10.
Yeah.
So and there's no indication that, like, nobody's, you know, mumbling around and saying, oh yeah, it might be 0.25%, 0.5%. All year this year, we were all saying, is it going to be a point, half a point, a quarter point? And frickin', they every announcement they did something, but there's no rumors, no rumblings of any percentage increase. Now, so there was the one thing. Now the recession, they're saying there will be a recession. I don't think it's going to be. Now, Conrad, in 2009, the recession. I mean, more corporations got affected than anybody else. But really, did anybody lose their jobs? Like, was there like a small percentage?
No, it wasn't. It was very small. Canada didn't. I think we went through it for like 4 or 5 months. Our big recession was probably the 90s, early 90s when we write. You know, there was GST at the time, and we talked about it, Bob Ray days, and we had our big time there between 90 and 95. Yeah. But no, that period of time, no. And the other thing is, everywhere else in the world, pricing did shift in 08, 09, 2010, what have you. But in Canada, it didn't move at all. Home prices still stabilized. So
and that's what I feel. So here's my thoughts. Now, there's another headline that says hoping for hoping for a steep drop in home prices next year is unlikely, and that's true. It is unlikely. Yeah. I truly feel with the Ford government, you know, talking about, you know, fast track building and 500 immigrants a year coming in, and, you know, and people putting in an apartment in their basement. I think housing prices are just going to stay strong and keep moving up. The 70s, when was it when the second household income started? Was it the 80s or 70s?
It was probably 70s. Yeah, probably, you know, beginning of the 80s and late 70s.
So the 80s. So that's when housing prices after that started moving up because now you got 2 household incomes buying a house. Now they can afford more. Everybody started the partner in the house started bringing money in and started contributing to buying a house. Now we've got now we're adding a third person, and that's the basement apartment.
Yeah.
That's going to drive things up a bit more. I don't know. Am I reading that wrong? Well, or is that
I think the outskirts is probably going to maybe see a little bit. You know, if you're too far from an urban center, and I think the number is 168% of people have gone back to work. Like it's they're going back into the offices. So there's some interesting things that are going on there. I think. Like if you're far out from an urban center, I think you're going to maybe feel a little bit like Caledonia did in 1990s. Caledonia felt it. Now those outskirts, right? So that could be a little different now with this opening of the green belts here in Niagara, Grimsby, and Hamilton and Ancaster. you don't have to go further afield to go find land. So now there's going to be more land available close to the urban center. So that will change things. And again, in Toronto and Vaughan and stuff like that. So there's more land opening up. So people do not have to go further. That'll be a little precarious. But other than that, I see some strong growth. Like I said, there's no inventory. The lower the inventory we have in December, that means we got low inventory in January. And then you know what's going to happen, Rob. You've seen it a million times, right?
Oh yeah. And I truly feel that the market's going to heat up. I'm not saying we're going to see 5, 10, 20% increases month over month. You know how we saw it late last year and early this year. I do think that that all these people sitting on the fence, waiting, and they're all going to come in at the same time. They said, okay, interest rates are what they are. Let's just go. We'll go variable, whatever. Let's just go buy a house and do it. And I think as a seller, if you're thinking about it, get your house prepared now and start getting it ready. Get if you need those bedrooms painted or whatever, the hallway, do it now because it's going to happen, and be ready to do it now.
And get your pre-approval in. Get your pre-approval rate hold in today too. Get that done because we see people waiting the last minute and losing rate locks sometimes. So make sure that's done too.
Question. Sorry, Conrad. Question, Brian. Now, somebody comes in and gets a pre-approval, gets locked in for how many days for a pre-approval?
Most of the major lenders will do 120 days. So you're locked in for 4 months. So
if it goes higher, you're protected. If it goes lower, you get the lower rate.
You got it. And I think that's even for people that if you're listening on renewals. If your mortgage isn't coming up for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, 7 months even, get the rate lock today because it may not be worth the penalty today. But if you hold that and blow it out 4 months, it may be worth it to break it a little bit earlier, depending on where those rates do go. So you're just hedging your bets. You're hedging your bets.
I didn't even know that. So if you know you've got a mortgage renewal coming up, get pre-approved and locked in on a lower rate. I didn't even know that. I thought it was just kind of an automatic, like whatever it was. And see, the banks don't even tell you that. See, that's what's great about dealing with mortgage brokers. That's what's great about it.
Well, because you don't have to exercise it if you decide not to, and it doesn't make sense. No harm, no foul. But if it does make sense, you've locked in a rate that's cheaper, more efficient for your borrowing, whatever the goals are. It's a great thing. And a lot of people don't do it because it takes extra time. It takes a little bit of time and effort to do that.
But can you do that over the phone? Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, you have to do an application. We have to take our little pint of blood as well too, because we have to do a due diligence, right, for the mortgage. But it's well worth it. Like I tell people all the time, I say, hey, listen, it's time invested now. That's it. You got to invest a little bit of time, and it could save you thousands of dollars. So is it worth it? I think it is.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't even know that. Like I thought it was pre-approval was just based on a brand new mortgage, and then once you're in, it just gets automatically renewed. So
the technical term, if you say pre-approval, the bank won't know what you're talking about. But if you tell a mortgage broker who knows what they're doing, you say, my renewal is coming up in a year. Can you hold a rate for me? Right. And then what they'll do is they can process an application with a 120-day close date, but you just may not close it. Right.
Yeah, you freaking learn something new every day. I didn't honestly. No, but how many people know that? They don't.
No.
You'd have to do commercial or something like that to really know it. Yeah. Well, commercial, like people do that in commercial real estate all the time. They're always playing with that, right? So,
there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I want to say, Rob, the other point, which is interesting, we didn't touch on it, but it's one of the list of topics, is the upper end. I did a study in the upper end. I am like blown away. We are dollar volumes this year compared to last year is up 13% in the upper end. And I did 2.5 million. 2.5 million, by the way. Sales are up 11%.
On the higher end.
On the higher end. Yeah, and the average price is up 2%. It went from 3.25 last year to 3.32 this year. Okay. And the other thing is, this is really interesting. I talked about the listing to sales ratio there. So the sale to ask, which is 97% mainstream. In the upper end, it's 98.8. So it's even tighter. It's even tighter in the upper end. As a matter of fact, September was 98.7. October was 98.7. Today it's 98.8. which
That's
is
insane.
now the only thing here is we've got a lot of inventory. Inventory's up about 128%. But I always say this: value, if it's value, it supersedes any market. It transcends any market. So in that upper end, if you got value, you're going to sell, and you're worth more today in the upper end than you were last year.
So here's another thing. Just quickly on this, they're saying that the luxury market driven by millennials. This is because of the biggest transfer of wealth is happening as we are living today, right now.
Yeah.
Like there's so much money that's being passed down, and the millennials, they know how to spend it.
Yeah.
We love them. They're going to keep the economy going for the next generation. I feel sorry for what's it, Gen X or Gen Zs or something like that?
I don't know.
There's not going to be nothing left for those
Zs.
guys.
I think it's
The
Zs.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when do we start at Gen A? Like when do we start again? A, B, and C. Like when do we start? But but this is the thing is this, and these numbers are great. Some people on this call will think, oh my God, I'm in the upper end. But listen, you got to really consult with your realtor. There's no question. Consult with a pro, like anybody on the Golfi team, and really look at all the numbers, price per square foot in your area and things like that, because that's really what makes a difference. Because if you price it tighter to the market, you're going to do very, very, very well. I know we all have dreams of grandeur, but I'll tell you, in that upper end, if you go strategic with your realtor, okay, and really look at the numbers closely, you'll do very, very well. And you're worth more than you were last year, and not a lot of people can say that.
I love it. I love it. Guys, thanks for your time. We got on a little late. I appreciate it. And I guess I think we got one more this year, possibly. We'll see where everybody's at. I'm not sure. Okay. But otherwise, everybody, thanks for listening. And don't hesitate to email or contact us for anything that you are interested in. Take care, everyone. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks.